What if I told you that the man who stood beside Jackie Christie for 2 decades, the man who raised her daughter as his own, just walked into a courtroom not with a smile, but with a lawsuit and a broken heart? Because that's exactly what just happened. Doug Christie is done being the loyal, quiet husband. He's done pretending that Jackie's lies didn't crush him from the inside out, and he's especially done being the father of a child that was never his to begin with. In a jaw-dropping twist that's got the entire sports world and reality TV universe on fire, Doug Christie has officially filed a $10 million lawsuit against Jackie Christie and Chris Webber, suing them for fraud, emotional devastation, and what he calls 20 stolen years I'll never get back. And the courtroom exploded. This isn't just a breakup. It's a betrayal so deep even the judge was left speechless. So buckle up, because what Doug just revealed might destroy Jackie's legacy forever and take Chris Webber down with it. They said Doug Christie would never fight back, that he was too calm, too loyal, too blindly in love to ever hold Jackie accountable. But what they didn't realize was that heartbreak turns into rage when silence has lasted too long. Doug didn't walk into that courtroom for justice. He walked in for war. He sat down across from Jackie, her face stoic, cold, unreadable, and next to her, Chris Webber, sunglasses on, looking like he'd rather be anywhere else but there. But he couldn't escape this. Not this time. Because Doug wasn't just suing for damages. He was suing for identity theft as a father, for fraud as a husband, and for emotional abuse as a human being. Your Honor, Doug's lawyer began, voice sharp like a dagger. This case isn't just about infidelity. It's about deception so deep it rewrote a man's entire legacy. Gasps echoed from the gallery. Reporters scribbled like their lives depended on it. Cameras flashed, and Jackie didn't flinch. Doug sat with his hands folded, but his eyes burned through Jackie like he'd been waiting his whole life for this moment. For 20 years. The lawyer continued, my client, Mr. Christie, believed he was the biological father of Chantel Christie. He paid for her schooling. He protected her. He mentored her. He built a life around her. Pause. A beat. Then, in one DNA test, that life shattered. Chris Webber shifted in his seat. Not only did Mrs. Christie conceal the truth for 2 decades, but Mr. Webber, the lawyer, turned to him knowingly, participated in the cover-up. We will prove beyond a shadow of a doubt that this was not a mistake. This was a choice, a conspiracy to erase a father and rewrite reality. Jackie's lawyer tried to interject, but the judge held up a hand. Then it happened. Doug stood up slowly, calmly. He turned to the court and said, in a voice so broken it sounded like gravel, you don't know what it's like to raise a child and find out she was never yours. Pin drop silence. I watched her first steps. I braided her hair. I told her bedtime stories about how I met her mother. And now I find out it was all fake. He turned toward Jackie. You didn't just lie to me. You robbed me of being a father. You let me build a life on quicksand while you knew the foundation was someone else's seed. Jackie looked away. And you? Doug's voice dropped as he glared at Chris. You watched me suffer. You stood beside me. You smiled at cookouts. And the whole time, you were her real father. Chris tried to speak, but words failed him. Then Doug delivered the line that would dominate headlines for the next 72 hours. You didn't just cheat with my wife. You stole my identity as a man. And now you're both going to pay for it. The courtroom exploded. Jackie's mouth opened, but no sound came out. Her lawyer begged for recess. Reporters sprinted outside to send the headline. Even the judge looked rattled. Order, order. But it was too late. The truth had landed like a bomb, and everyone was scrambling. In the smoke behind closed doors, whispers started leaking. Jackie allegedly had kept a secret journal, pages torn, scribbled in red ink, where she detailed her guilt, her fear of being exposed, and how she had no choice but to let Doug believe the lie. Doug's team had it, and they were planning to enter it into evidence. But that wasn't even the worst part. Rumors swirled that Chris Webber had signed hush agreements with Jackie after Chantel was born, promising to stay quiet, never question paternity, and let Doug think what he wanted. It wasn't just deception, it was strategy. And Doug was done playing the fool. Back inside court, Jackie finally stood. "You think I planned this?" she snapped, voice shaking but loud. "You think I wanted to live like this? I was scared. I had to. Protect my family," Doug laughed bitterly.
No.
"You wanted to protect your image, your empire, your damn show deals. What about me?" Chris remained silent, but the tension around him grew like wildfire. He knew this wasn't ending in court. This was going viral. Again. The judge recessed for the day, but not before setting a new date. A public deposition where Chantel would be subpoenaed and forced to testify. No one saw that coming. Doug walked out of court to a sea of microphones, flashing lights, and reporters screaming questions. He stopped, turned, and said with icy calm, "I love Jackie. I love Chantel. I even respected Chris at one point. But love doesn't mean letting people ruin your life and walk away clean." He paused. "This isn't revenge. It's justice." And with that, he stepped into his black SUV, while the world braced for what would happen when Chantel hit the stand. The courtroom was buzzing like a hornet's nest when the doors swung open again. All heads turned. Chantel Christie, the woman at the center of it all, walked in, eyes hidden behind sunglasses, lips tight, posture guarded. She wasn't wearing designer. She wasn't smiling. She wasn't posting. She was ready to testify, and the internet was ready to eat it alive. Jackie's face went pale. Doug's expression didn't change, but his entire body stiffened like he was bracing for a storm he'd already drowned in once before. The judge cleared her throat. "Miss Chantel Christie, you've been subpoenaed to testify in this matter. You understand the implications?" Chantel nodded. She sat in the witness chair, slowly took off her glasses, and looked straight at Doug. "I didn't know," she said, her voice cracking immediately. "I swear to God, I didn't know. I thought he was my father." Doug swallowed hard. Chantel turned to Jackie, voice rising. "You lied to me my whole life. You told me he was my dad. I defended you. I went on TV and praised our family, our bond, while you were out here hiding birth certificates and faking timelines." Jackie's hands trembled. "Chantel, I did it to protect you." "No," she shouted. "You did it to protect yourself." Gasps echoed. "I didn't ask to be lied to. I didn't ask to be born in a mess. And now I have to stand here in front of the whole world and explain why my real father is a man I barely know." Then she turned to Chris Webber. "You didn't want to know me, that's fine. But don't stand here, now, acting like a victim. You had a choice to." Chris looked like he'd just aged 10 years in 5 seconds. His voice was low, shaking. "I wanted to, but your mother said..." Chantel cut him off. "She always said whatever she needed to say. Didn't mean it was true." The courtroom was stunned. Doug looked up, eyes welling, voice breaking. "So, do you hate me now?" Chantel shook her head.
No.
"I love you. You're my dad. The one who showed up, the one who taught me how to shoot a basketball, the one who stayed." A tear finally rolled down Doug's cheek. "But I'm angry," Chantel whispered. "I'm angry that everything we had wasn't what I thought it was." Outside, Twitter exploded. "This is the most devastating courtroom drama I've ever seen. Chantel dragging Jackie and Chris while crying. This is better than anything love and hip-hop has ever produced. Doug deserves *ING award for surviving this emotional slaughter." Meanwhile, Jackie sat like a statue, but inside she was crumbling. Because what no one else knew, what hadn't leaked yet, was that Jackie had done something far worse than lying about paternity. She'd signed Chris's name on Chantel's birth certificate without his knowledge illegally. And that forged document was about to be entered into evidence. Doug's legal team dropped the bomb after Chantel's testimony. "We now present Exhibit 17, his lawyer announced. A document obtained through court order, Chantel's birth certificate signed by Jackie Christie on behalf of Chris Webber without his consent. Chris's mouth fell open. "You forged my name," he muttered, stunned. Jackie's face finally cracked. "You said you didn't want to be involved. I panicked. I had to make it all look clean." Doug stood, almost shaking. "You made my life a cover-up." The judge slammed her gavel. "We are officially moving into grounds for criminal charges." Jackie's lawyer whispered frantically into her ear. Cameras zoomed in. Microphones caught everything. She was unraveling in real time. Mascara smudged, lips trembling. Then Jackie did something no one expected. She broke. "I lied. Okay, I lied. I was scared. I was selfish. I didn't want to lose control." She stood up, screaming. "I didn't want to lose everything I built." Chris stepped back. Doug just stared. Chantel turned away in disgust. But it was too late. Every outlet from TMZ to ESPN had the footage. Jackie's confession was live. Backstage, VH1 execs held an emergency. Meetings. Their once beloved queen of chaos had become a legal liability. She just admitted to forgery and paternity fraud on camera. One producer whispered, "We can't air this, or we air it as a documentary." Meanwhile, Doug wasn't done yet. In a final statement before the day's adjournment, he addressed the court and the world watching outside. "I'm not just suing for money. I'm suing to set the record straight because for 20 years I lived in someone else's lie. Now I'm taking my truth back, no matter who it burns down with it." And then he dropped the final shocker. "There's one more name being added to this lawsuit, VH1. The gallery gasped. Doug alleged that producers of Basketball Wives knew about the deception for years and chose to protect the storyline for ratings. He claimed they encouraged Jackie to maintain the lie, even coaching her to dodge paternity rumors on camera. Now the scandal wasn't just a family matter, it was a media empire collapse. Social media went feral. Doug suing VH1? He's taking everybody down with him. This is turning into a Netflix series in real time. Jackie Dunn messed up the whole reality TV industry. As the judge banged the gavel again, Jackie sat down slowly, breathing like she'd just run a marathon in a hurricane. Doug looked at her one last time that day and said, "You tried to erase me. Now watch what happens when the world finally sees who you really are." When the courtroom emptied that day, it wasn't just a trial the world had witnessed. It was the slow televised dismantling of Jackie Christie's entire existence. And the world couldn't look away. From the moment Doug announced his intention to sue VH1 for knowingly exploiting a fake family narrative, executives inside the network scrambled like ants on a burning hill. Emails leaked. An anonymous intern posted screenshots showing internal discussions dating back 5 years where producers allegedly told Jackie to keep the storyline strong and avoid paternity rumors, unless they were dramatic enough for TV. Hashtags trended instantly. Hashtag justice for Doug. Hashtag Jackie lied for 20 years. Hashtag cancel Basketball Wives. Jackie's face, once the crown jewel of drama and glamour, was now the centerpiece of national disgrace. And then the final twist dropped. A second hotel clip leaked. The first clip, posted by Chris Webber's cousin days earlier, had shown Jackie and Chris entering a luxury suite in Miami. But the new clip had audio. In the crackling phone footage, Jackie's voice was crystal clear. "Doug will never find out. He's too loyal. That's why it works." Chris replied, "If this ever gets out, we're finished. You understand that, right?" Jackie laughed. "That's what NDAs are for, baby. Game over." Doug's team filed for punitive damages the next morning. VH1 suspended all current production of Basketball Wives indefinitely. Jackie was now under official investigation for perjury, paternity fraud, and forged legal documents. Doug's lawsuit had teeth, and it was now backed by 2 law firms and a team of forensic accountants tracing Jackie's hush money payouts, offshore funds, and contracts signed in fake names. The headlines were relentless. Jackie Christie's empire implodes. Doug Christie seeks $10 million in damages, Chris Webber named in lawsuit, may be forced to pay retroactive child support. VH1 knew. Explosive emails leaked suggest showrunners hid paternity truth for ratings. Jackie tried going silent. She shut down her Instagram and refused interviews. Lawyers spoke for her. But Doug? He took to the mic. He did a surprise press conference outside the courthouse, wearing a charcoal suit, no tie, eyes heavy but focused. "People told me to stay quiet," he said, "to take the high road. But how do you take the high road when you were thrown off the cliff 20 years ago?" Flashes went off. Reporters leaned forward. I gave everything I had to Jackie: love, loyalty, legacy, and she gave me a script, a fake family, a co-star instead of a partner. He looked into the camera. I'm not suing for revenge. I'm suing to remind people that truth still matters. Social media dubbed it the speech that ended Jackie Christie. But the final blow came from someone no one expected.
Chris Webber.
Sitting down with a major news outlet, Chris gave a one-on-one televised interview. The kind people screen record and pass down like a confession. The host asked, "Chris, did you love Jackie?" Chris paused, swallowed. "I did once." "And did you knowingly help her hide the truth from Doug?" Chris stared into the camera. "I did. And it's the biggest regret of my life." The host leaned in. "Why come clean now?" Chris didn't blink. "Because I finally saw what it did to Chantel." Mic drop. Doug released a public statement later that night. "I appreciate Chris finally telling the truth, but it doesn't change the fact that he helped rob me of a fatherhood I took seriously every single day." Then Doug made it official. He filed for full legal disassociation from Jackie, requesting that all royalties, residuals, and public brand associations using the name Christie couple be permanently terminated. He even requested VH1 remove all old episodes featuring them together, or risk legal action for exploiting false narratives. By now, the public had turned entirely. Petitions with hundreds of thousands of signatures called for Jackie's removal from all media platforms, cancellation of any pending endorsements, and a public apology tour. And Jackie? Well, she tried. She attempted a soft return and apology live stream from her